What can you paint with just 5 Roman Szmal watercolors? Today I'm testing them on these 3 stacked rocks. These paints surprise me with how vibrant the layering gets. Wait until you see the results. By the end, you'll know if this small set is enough. Let's find out. Here are the 5 colors I'll be using: lemon yellow, Aquarius red, ultramarine light, Aquarius green, and caput mortuum. 4 are single pigment paints, which means super clean mixes. The exception is the green. It's a 3 pigment blend, so I'm going to be extra careful when mixing so I avoid mud. All of these are labeled semi-transparent. If you want the exact pigment codes, I've listed everything in the description. So we'll add a little more yellow. You might want to have a tube of pink, permanent rose or something like that. Blue, we're going to go towards the yellow to make it a little cooler. Here's a cool blue. That red is more of a pink red, so we'll probably have to use this to make it a little more orange, just like that. Plus a smidge of red. This was the red plus a smidge of the blue, and this was the red. There we go. Let's just see what kind of green we can get, not counting that green. Look, oh my goodness. Look at the granulation on that. And that, oh my goodness. Let's try to avoid that. Let's see what kind. Oh, yep, that's a nice green. So what I really want to try is this blue, the caput mortuum. Oh, look at that. Let's try this Aquarius green. As I mix, you'll notice I approached the Aquarius green a bit differently. Since it's a convenience color with 3 pigments, it can get unpredictable in mixes. So I use it more as a base and tweak it with the other single pigments for control. The rest of the set mixes beautifully and stays clean, thanks to those single pigment formulas. Let's just try a couple blends. Try the blue. Let's try the yellow and the red. Let's set that aside. But the real test is how these work on an actual painting. Let's paint some rocks. I'm just starting out, and I just mixed up a sandy color using the caput mortuum, a little bit of yellow, and a little bit of blue. While that is drying, we'll move up to the top and work on the top rock. I'm going to wet this rock to take our paint. I'm going to make it kind of more darker towards the bottom. Maybe put some speckles. I'm just adding a little straight yellow to the very top edge where the highlight will be, and then I'm kind of lifting some of it off with my brush. I'm dabbing my brush on a Kleenex so it doesn't keep putting the paint back on. We could even go down to the next rock because it doesn't matter if it blends in some, it'll just make it more interesting. Again, this time dry. I'm just going to kind of add some water in between to kind of get a different look to the rock. So there's some lighter areas. Some rocks are very light. Okay. Because where I'm painting on dry, you have to work fairly quick. You don't want your edge to dry out. See how it's drying right there? So you just kind of go back and forth to the edge. So that's going to have to dry. I'm just going to paint in some shadow. Now shadows are darkest underneath as well, closest to the object. So I'm just going to take a damp brush. I'm just going to pull out that edge. Not even really pulling it out, I'm just kind of softening it. And I repeat this technique for each shadow on the rocks. So let me just dry that. I am actually drying it with a hairdryer. This is where it sits. If you don't have something dark like this under an object, they float. So now I'm just going to come in, just tickling the edge. I'm just tickling the edge. So I just added water where I want to add more shadow. And I'm just really going to water this down. This is wet on dry. And there'll be more shadow at the back. And you can put a little texture here if you want. I'm just going to pull some of that out with the water. So we'll move down to the blue. So we're actually glazing over top of what's already there. Let's just kind of pull that out. I'm just putting some more back in here. Now I need some of the green. I'm just testing them to make sure that layer, like, yeah, look at the, do you see the difference? Like when I did the student grade Daler Rowney ones the other day, like this is not wrecking what's underneath. So I'm gonna start back here before it dries. I'm gonna put some backgrounds there on purpose. Give it a little bit of interest for this bottom one. Let's take some purple and just drop it at the very darkest spot, which would be where it meets the ground. Maybe a little in the back. Let's dry this. I'm just kind of pulling that out a little here, a little there, because I want to leave a little texture on it. And I might even just dry brush a little bit on. So I put down a really thick paint and I just grabbed some water out of my thing and I just started pulling it around. So I'm going to come here because some of that green will reflect onto the rock from below. Rinse your brush, dab it, and you don't even have to touch everything. Okay, I'm going to dry that. I want to use the straight blue to go over the shadows. I'm just going to drop some blue in there too. I'm just putting little flicks and marks. Let's go down to here. I'm just layering on some blue to get the depth of the shadow that I need. I'm going to tip my board a little. I'll start over here. And if you know me or have been around here, this is how you do a flat wash. Make sure you keep that edge wet and keep it moving. Do not put your brush back into water. So everywhere that the rock is touching the other rock will have the darkest shadow. And add a little more water to that darker there. Again, just grabbing a damp brush, just going to pull that out a little. I'm going to actually wet the whole rock and I'm going to take and just put some little dots and interesting marks on it. The rocks can get lines on them. Just a little bit of interest. I'm honestly really impressed. These layer beautifully and my rocks have this glowing quality. This 5-pan set is just $18 at Jackson's. For this quality, that's incredible value. You could add phthalo blue and quin pink for a limited palette under $35. Honestly, they're already in my cart. You can find the links in the description. What should I review next? Drop a comment and subscribe for more honest reviews. Thanks for watching.